Hello everyone, this is the Golden Lock Picker, and I'm back at you here with another lock in the vise today. And yes, you heard me right, that is the new call sign for the channel. And if you guys have stuck around through that rebranding, I appreciate you guys very much. Just trying to avoid any potential conflicts down the road as I grow this channel and grow my content, and I hope you guys enjoy it very much. So what I have for you guys today is an Abus 4540. It's a laminated steel lock with, I think, probably some good features to maybe try out as a newer lock picker. This currently ranks as a white belt on the Lock Pickers United belt system. And you can find that at lpubelts.com. Why do I think this is a good lock to try? I'm not saying this is a good replacement or, the one lock, to be all for beginners. But why I think this is a good lock for beginners to try is because I think this lock offers something more than what you think it does. It looks exactly similar to most of your other laminated steel lock bodies. I'll bring out the classic Master Lock number 3. Very similar in size. Obviously the shackle is different on this, but you can find a Master Lock number 3 that matches this shackle length. It's got more rivets, so it's a little bit more secure in construction in that regard. Master Lock only has 6 on the top. On the bottom, the Abus actually has 8 as well, whereas the Master Lock only has 4. But one of the big things I think you're going to notice if you are a newer picker is the keyway. So on a Master Lock number 3, which is a very common lock for a lot of North American pickers who get into this hobby of lock picking, they obviously have got one of these laying around somewhere, or somebody does, or either they pick up another similar lock, and they all have this keyway, that same Master Lock keyway, and it's really wide open. And if you notice, it has this lean to it that you could easily fit just about any size picker, and I mean any, like even the cheap $10 kits or $5 kits, off of Alibaba, or the Go So lock picks that are fairly large, larger than your typical 25 thousandths picks. You could still fit some of those inside of this Master Lock number 3 keyway. With this Abus 4540, that's not going to be as easy. And while you can put your pick in here sideways, similar to that, you're going to have a heck of a time actually picking those pins from that side position like that. So you're actually going to have a pick that fits vertically in here. See if I can bring that into focus, down that center channel. What I mean by that is you'll notice that the warding here actually comes over, and the warding here goes all the way over, kind of creating a bit of a paracentric keyway. Now granted, it's a really basic one, but this is maybe a good learning tool for learning to pick in those tighter keyways without having to deal with some of the other things that you have to deal with at higher level locks that can be a little bit frustrating. So while this is only a white belt lock, and you could easily just go pick a Master Lock number 3, or any lock for that matter, and you could even rake them open, don't overlook this lock right here. I think it's going to be valuable to you as a picker. The other thing too is, compared to a Master Lock number 3, you get, I would say, an easier contact path with the key pins themselves, which are the pins that hang down into the keyway down here. The driver pins, or the security pins, are the ones that you're trying to get up above the cylinder, up in here, as you pick these pins down below. And once they get up there and we tension them, they sit up there, and you basically are able to pick through those and eventually rotate the core. On a Master Lock, it's easy to feel those key pins, whereas on this Abus 4540, if you're a newer picker, this will feel very, very, very different from picking a Brinks or picking a Master Lock. And I think it's going to give you a little bit more of a challenge. So let's go ahead and just verify our lock works here again. We'll stick key in. See there, no issues. Lock it back up. Throw our key off to the side. Tighten this up in the vise. I'll be using Jimmy Long's tools today. A bottom of the keyway, top of the keyway turner in 40 thousandths. And then I'll also be using the short flat hook in 23 thousandths out of the starter set. And let's get to picking here. So one thing you're going to notice is I'm using really light tension compared to maybe what I'd be able to get away with on some other locks. And my feedback is also a lot softer. Like, you're not getting those big, loud, audible clicks like you might be used to from other locks. They're just going to be really subtle. You notice the core is moving, and there we go. We already got this open. Now, why would I recommend this lock to you as a newer lock picker? Well, one thing, you'll notice the core here. As I take my finger off of this turner, this core is going to actually spring back. It's got a lot of spring tension on it. The other thing too, that keyway. And then thirdly, the contact with those actual key pins. It's very subtle. And this lock can be a training tool for you if you use it right. One, to teach you to kind of run through and actually individually feel those pins. And by that I mean, take your pick, the one that you have. It doesn't have to be this one, you know, whatever you've got. And just right in this lock, drive it down the middle with no tensioner and feel the pin. There's pin 1. Run it into the next one, pin 2. Run into the next one, pin 3. And then finally in the back there, pin 4. And if you use this lock like that, rather than just picking up your typical master lock like everybody does, driving your key, you know, your pick down here and, you know, slamming it around and, you know, picking for anything that's kind of, you know, semi-firm, take the time to actually go through and develop that subtle, light touch with this lock. And if you do, I think it's going to reward you as you go further on in your lock belt picking progression, if you will. Because there's going to be some locks further down the road where you're going to need that. Now, some locks require more tension. That's for another video, another day. But I think this lock would be great in trying to just teach you that pin pick placement. And then also dealing with sort of a semi-paracentric keyway, if you will. Especially if you have starter tools that are thick. You know, this is not that thick. This is only a 23 thousandths, but it's still the starter's pick from Jimmy Long's. But there's other ones out there that are 25 thousandths, and if you go to the really cheap stuff like the cheap Chinese knockoffs, you know, they can be even more than 25 thousandths. And that's where having a lock like this can help you to kind of get used to that feel, and eventually at some point it will help you down the road when you get into harder locks and you start using better tools. It can be a huge training tool for you. So don't overlook this lock. It's an ABUS 4540 white belt lock. See, that's unlocked there. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and you guys feel free to comment down below. Tell me basically a lock that, you know, something you started out with. It doesn't have to be a pin tumbler. It could have been a dimple lock, lever lock, or even a wafer lock. Whatever it is, just whatever your first lock that you picked was, and you know, what do you think is a good entry-level lock? Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to comment down below, as I mentioned, and go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button before you guys leave. Appreciate it. Thanks.